Welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports. I'm your host, Larry Frank. So very happy to have you with us on this Monday evening. What a great show we have planned for you this evening. Just an unbelievable show. In about 15 minutes, we're going to have former Notre Dame quarterback and University of Florida quarterback Malik Zaire will be joining us live on the Frankly Speaking Sports Hotline. Want to welcome my buddy Donnie all the way from Canada on the phone tonight. Donnie, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Want to also join all of you from so many different platforms tonight to watch this very special event. Once again, about 13 minutes from now, we will have former Notre Dame quarterback and University of Florida quarterback Malik Zaire joining us live on the Frankly Speaking Sports Hotline. Just going to check a quick message here. Alrighty, there we go. Everything is back up to speed. Nick wants to know why I'm yelling. Nick, I just got a big mouth. That's all that is, buddy. Thanks for joining us today, Nick. Sorry if it sounds like I'm yelling. We just moved back from Arkansas. We are back in Tampa, so we still have some empty rooms out here and don't have some soundboards. So as soon as we're able to get some soundboards in here, we will. But for those of you, I'm so glad to have you here. We want to start out, before we get into some major news today, Tampa Bay Rays are winning 10-5 in the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 home runs by Hunter Renfroe. Back-to-back by Hunter Renfroe and Joey Wendell. So 2 homers for Renfroe, 1 homer for Wendell. Every single spot in the lineup has reached base. Every single spot in the lineup has scored. So the Rays are winning. Now it's 13-6 in the bottom of the 7th inning. We'll keep you posted as that game comes to a conclusion. And we're going to talk a lot about Rays, but before we get into it, breaking news, everybody by now has heard that 11 different Miami Marlins and staff has contracted the coronavirus. So the game tonight was canceled between Baltimore and between the Miami Marlins. 11 players have contracted the virus. I believe 8 of those were players, 3 of them were staff members. And let's take a look at this for a minute. It was inevitable. You knew something was going to happen eventually where there was a team that had a couple of more players that contracted the virus. And I'm going to tell you what, this is where baseball comes into play and shows the players how much faith they can have in the commissioner and the owners by how they handle this situation. This is what the players were afraid of. What's going to happen if a team gets it? So how Major League Baseball handles this right now is going to really dictate the feeling and the belief of all the players that are playing baseball this year. And like I said, it was inevitable. You knew this was going to happen. It finally did happen. And now these are the consequences. We got to deal with it. I just want to let you know that they are continuing to play games. They have not made a final decision on tomorrow's night's game, but Miami does travel to Baltimore now. It was supposed to be a home-away series where there was 2 games in Miami, 2 in Baltimore, so we'll have to see what happens there. Also in Tampa Bay Buccaneer news, if you have not heard yet, Keyshawn Vaughn, the 3rd-round pick out of Vanderbilt, has contracted the coronavirus as well. He has contracted the coronavirus, so he is now on what they call the coronavirus list, and he will have to be retested after being quarantined. So lots and lots of issues going on with coronavirus right now in the world of sports. Thank goodness that it's only one team. All the players have been retested and will not be allowed back in town until the results come up. So we will keep you posted on the latest out of Miami. But once again, 11 Miami Marlins, including 3 staff members, have contracted the coronavirus. For those of you just joining us, want to let you know in the bottom of the 7th inning, your Tampa Bay Rays are leading 13-5 over the Atlanta Braves. Just playing some great baseball. Every single guy in the lineup has reached base. Every single guy in the lineup has scored. Hunter Renfroe, who we got from the San Diego Padres, has hit 2 home runs tonight. Joey Wendell's hit another home run tonight. And this team is really, really looking good. I will tell you, Tyler Glasnow started out a little slow tonight, was falling behind hitters, but after that 2nd inning, he came back with a strong 3rd inning, strong 4th inning. They got to Jalen Beeks, who's going to have to perform a lot better than he did tonight going forward for him to stay in that bullpen rotation. But just a great, great job overall by the Tampa Bay Rays. They are on their way. They have there's 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. They're up 13-5. So 2 more innings and they'll have their 3rd win in 4 games. Yes, Donnie, we know you are a Blue Jays fan, my friend. And I want to tell you something about that Blue Jays team, why we have Donnie on here. That is a good little team. That team is going. It would be a good baseball team. I mean, they got the younger Bichette. They got Guerrero. They got the young Biggio. They got Giroux. That is a good young team. They can get that pitching together. They're going to be a good team in the next couple of years. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they easily should have won 2 of those 3 games. Of course, the comeback over the weekend, if you missed it, by the Rays yesterday with Kevin Kiermaier having the 2-run triple, walk-off triple to win the game yesterday. Then of course they won the night before. So they lose the home opener. They lose the home opener, and it looks like they're on to their 3rd straight victory right now as they have a commanding 13-5 lead in the bottom of the 7th inning. Want to remind you all that are joining us, we are about 5 minutes away from having former Notre Dame quarterback and University of Florida quarterback Malik Zaire on the phone with us. We'll be talking about his career in college and after college. Want to also remind you, if you're just joining us, if you're on another platform, do me a favor. It'll take you 2 seconds. Just hit the share button. Share this with all your friends. Whether they're on the group platform you're watching or not, let them enjoy this show as much as you are. We are in for one heck of a treat with Malik Zaire. And then for all you Lightning fans, what a show do we have for you tomorrow. We're going to have Joe D'Angelo. He's a radio talk show host at the Tampa Bay Lightning, also has his own Lightning fan group called the Thunder Strikers. Will be joining us tomorrow to talk about the Lightning, that trip to Toronto, and what we should expect the first week out of our Tampa Bay Lightning, who start play. They start an exhibition game, I believe, Thursday, and then they start the qualifying seeds starting this Monday. They play August 3rd. And then you'll have August 1st, a lot of the first rounds of the playoffs going on. The Lightning are already in, so they are just going to play for the top 4 seeds and see how they seed it all out. So a great show for you again tomorrow night. After the interview with Malik Zaire, we're going to take your questions. We're going to open up the comments. We're going to let you talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. And any other team you want to talk about. If you're a Blue Jay fan like Donnie is and you want to talk about the Blue Jays and how exciting of a team they're going to be, I picked them to come behind. Actually, in the AL East, if you listen to the show we did about the AL East before the season started, I picked the Rays, the Yankees, and then the Blue Jays. I actually picked the Blue Jays ahead of the Red Sox in that division. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of great things. Like I said, the Rays are about to start the 8th inning. They're up 13-5, and we'll talk more about that after the interview with Malik Zaire. You know, for those of you that are tuning in, the Yankee game was canceled tonight, I believe, versus Philadelphia, if I'm correct. And then also the Marlins game was canceled versus the Baltimore Orioles due to the coronavirus breakout that has happened with the Miami Marlins. So as we get more information, we will know they're the only team so far. Also, if you're just joining us, and I'm repeating myself, just so you know, Keyshawn Vaughn, the running back who was drafted in the 3rd round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has contracted the coronavirus and is on the coronavirus injured list, they call it. So we are about 2 minutes away from getting Malik on the phone. Once again, a reminder, stay with us after the interview. We will go to a comment section. Let me know you're here. Donnie just let me know he was here. Remember, if you're not on the Frankly Speaking Sports platform, I probably can't see your message, but that's okay. Once again, we'll probably open up a phone line after the interview. Let you call in. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's talk about the beginning of them season. Hopefully, if it goes as it is right now, and I think it will, they'll win the first 3 out of 4 games. So let's talk some Tampa Bay Rays baseball after we get Malik Zaire on the phone and after his interview. And we'll talk about good things. We'll talk about things you like. We'll talk about things you don't like that you've seen. Like I said, Tyler Glass now went 4 innings today before being taken out of the game. Jalen Beeks came in, did not do a good job in relief, gave up 5 runs, but I'm very impressed with Tyler. He started off slow, came on strong towards the end. He was hitting 100 miles per hour tonight with that fastball, and we saw some good things over the weekend, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. Like I said, we're about 30 seconds away from Malik coming on the phone. Looking forward to talking to him. Let me go ahead and get that going. All right, so let's go ahead and get Malik on the phone now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor, thrill, and pleasure to introduce to you on the Frankly Speaking Sports Hotline, former Notre Dame and University of Florida quarterback Malik Zaire. Malik, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. Thanks for bringing me on.
Oh, Malik, thanks for coming on. Very, very happy to have you on tonight. You know, I want to start with the beginning of your career. I know we have a lot of Gator fans and we have a lot of Irish fans on the line as well. I remember the game. You led the Irish to a 31-28 victory over LSU. I believe it was 2014 in the Music City Bowl. I believe that was your first career start, if I'm correct. You got MVP honors. You counted for it, 192 yards, 2 touchdowns. Talk about that day, not just being your first start, but it being in a bowl game and winning the MVP.
Well, it was a great blessing to be able to have a chance to put in a lot of work and then have an opportunity to take advantage of that. And so I got an opportunity from the USC game, played well enough to get a chance to start finally, and once I got a chance to start and knowing that I've been putting in the work and it just clicked for us, and I'm still upset that I didn't get the chance to play the whole game, but we had Everett Golson was a really great quarterback, so made it hard, but we were able to get the job done, and it was a great moment to get the MVP. That was just a emotional moment, more so for the fact that I felt like I finally had a chance to break out and really put to the turf what I've been working hard with the guys around me for.
Now, you worked hard, you had an unbelievable bowl game. The following season, you entered 2015. There was no doubt about who the starter was. You start the season versus Texas, and you have a Heisman candidate-like type performance versus Texas. I think you were 19 for 22, over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, at that point, you couldn't know what was going to happen the following week. But at that time, things were looking pretty good.
Yeah, we definitely was sizing our rings, thinking we were going to be in contention for championship, which, we still had opportunities throughout the year. But, yeah, as football and the career of football, how when you get hurt, you can't control it. And so, that's something that, changed a lot of things. But at the end of the day, being able to start off hot like that just was a trend of something that was going to continue moving forward.
And the following week, unfortunate situation, you break your ankle, DeShone Kizer takes over. Were you surprised the following year that there was actually a quarterback competition, or did you expect to just come back and get your starting quarterback job back?
Well, you learn the business, and I had opportunity to experience kind of things in college football that they don't really prepare you for. So,
right,
going through an emotional moment like that, obviously with so many things in front of us that we were cooking with, and having a plan for that season, and it going left like that for me. And in the moment, I guess it's because of how it happened, your coach is kind of telling you, the things you want to hear. And obviously you can't predict the future. We had a good team at the time where the next man up mentality played a good role, and DeShone did a good job to getting the team as far as he could that year. And the next year, obviously having a quarterback competition at every year I've been at Notre Dame, and I wasn't surprised by it, but I was a little shocked considering the conversations I had with Coach Kelly himself. So when things kind of became contradictory in that standpoint, you can tell that they had things that they were planning themselves.
Now, you go on where you transfer over to Florida. Were you more surprised when, because I think everybody at the University of Florida, I was living in Gainesville at that time, we all thought you were going to be the clear starter there under Coach McElvain. Did you expect to be the starter when you transferred over there?
Yeah, I had a good opportunity to go a couple different places, but Florida was the opportunity that was more built towards what I thought we had set up. I thought we had a plan in place that it was going to be pretty cooperative. But that was obviously was new. The transfer portal stuff and the grad transfer stuff was just becoming popular at the time, and it's just a different, second recruitment is different only because you have 1 year instead of 4. So that year at Florida, we had a lot of different things happen before we got a chance to even play some football, and we missed the game because of hurricane, and we had our head coach ended up getting fired in the middle of the season. So, so many different things played into it that you couldn't predict. But like I said, that's just the tragedy of a football career sometimes.
Now, we are talking to Malik Zaire, the former Notre Dame and University of Florida quarterback. Malik, you've seen the glory, I kind of call it, and you've seen the bad side of college football. What, if anything, did you learn from being at both ends of the spectrum?
It's just a good opportunity to really explore the strength of, what you're really capable of. And I think, along with it being a good story to tell to people, it's an honor to be able to go through such a extreme of seeing such highs and lows, and it's something you work for. And I think finding the middle ground and the things that you can take with you and elevate your own life from is just a testament to who you are. And when it gets difficult and hard to explain, the best thing to do is just keep going and have great patience, and things will work out. And as long as you keep the Lord first, it tends to fall your way better than what you could even imagine.
And one of the lessons, and I know you deal with some younger kids as well and teach some younger kids, but there's a lesson to be learned because, everybody in high school, they all think they're great players, obviously. It's a completely different game in high school, and there's a major transition that you go through going from a high school career to a college career. What type of lessons do you try to communicate to those kids?
A lot of it is you got to be honest, and you got to really stick to the fact that being resilient means a lot more than just an on-the-field perspective. Your mindset has to be very resilient from the things that you can't control, because it's your response to those things that really determine your path and the direction of your career in a lot of cases. So, honestly, that guys have that are not positive or impacting type of attitudes tend to not get the rewards that they want and look for when they go in. So expectations is something that you got to set for yourself, which is being self-motivated and having that discipline and confidence to really chase your dreams. And on the other end, you got to also be aware of things that happen. The responses always have to be something where you can learn from, instead of see it as it's just somebody that's hating on you or not trying to see you succeed. So it's easy to make a lot of excuses of why you can't make it or why it didn't go how you wanted to or how people thought it may have went for you, but it's the lessons you learn from it and how you respond is all that matters.
Now, after your last year of playing football, you happened to stay in the game by going into broadcasting. How did broadcasting come all about?
Well, having a good story, and being a good person and having good relationships is something that in the right places, like a Notre Dame, come into effect later in your life. And Notre Dame's a huge brand, and being able to be resilient through things and keep a positive attitude, people remember that, and that sometimes comes up in places you wouldn't even expect. So having a solid background, like something similar to that, and being able to play quarterback at Notre Dame can take you a lot of places too, surprisingly. So put those two together and have an opportunity to do some things with overtime. You get a chance to talk on TV about ball, and fell in love with it. And I'm glad I got a chance to do that, and hopefully keep doing that when we have a season this year.
Malik, there is a lot, and a lot of people don't realize this. Obviously, you don't play in the game when you're broadcasting, but there's a lot of similarities involved in preparing for the game, whether you're playing or broadcasting, isn't there?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because I'm not too far removed from playing, so I had an opportunity to call a couple games for Louisiana Tech, and Coach Diaco, who was my defense coordinator when I played, now I'm interviewing him before the game about the defense that he's running against the team. So seeing that I was wearing two different hats and seeing him be two different people in the responses from when I was a player to now I'm working in the media was just kind of cool. And you definitely have to work hard because the research becomes more about the entertainment side of football as opposed to teammates on what you got to do. So you still got to take that aspect of what you would tell your teammates and talking strategy and preparing for a game week and bring it to TV. And TV, you got to get the names right. And it's something you can't really practice for, which is pretty relatable to football because in the game, nothing is 100% scripted. So there's no practice for calling games, which was the surprising thing that I learned about it. But when you do it, when you get out there, you got to be natural and fluid. And if you can do that playing quarterback, you can have success in both careers.
Now, with this epidemic going on, Malik, how do you think it will affect, an independent school like Notre Dame this year?
Well, I think it's a unique experience, as you can tell from it. Nobody being able to have the freedom it's the same freedom to be able to play games, but Notre Dame being who they are, I think they do have the luxury of maybe even exploring different conferences that they can potentially make deals with because, with the format that they have now, maybe they can use it as building a schedule that's nothing but impacting games that can put them in good playoff position instead of having us in a chokehold every year, being a one game or no playoff situation at all. So, the people at hand are good at what they do, and they'll think of something.
Now, let me ask you, do you think it's time, in your opinion, for Notre Dame to get into a conference?
Oh, no, not at all. Notre Dame makes me too much money with TV deals to lose money going into a conference. Plus, that would lose just the mystique, in my opinion, of a school like Notre Dame that doesn't rival to any of the schools that they play from a student count number, but the mystique of being able to play all over the country on national TV keeps Notre Dame relevant in recruitment and just the tradition of the school itself. So that's one thing that keeps Notre Dame unique, and they shouldn't lose that. And it'd be a shame for them to solely commit to just a conference because it would just change the whole dynamic of the school. So just things to think about.
All right. Now, a couple more questions before we let you run, Malik. Do you like the current situation in college football, the way the playoffs are designed?
I think it's it's an ever evolution of the way college football wants to be played, and I think a lot of it just unfortunately is geared based off of TV deals. So with the TV deals and the numbers going up, I'm sure they're going to find ways to put more football on TV all year round, and with the spring leagues and how they've been having some success, and unfortunately the pandemic has set that back, but I think this could give a scheduling change for football that could be better. It'd be interesting to see football all year round and seeing guys, having fresher careers, and we'll see how it goes. But this is a unique opportunity to, make a good positive impact shift for the game of football and make it more fun for everybody.
Now, Malik, you played in front of big, huge crowds. Can you imagine a season of college football without fans in the stands?
Well, you practice majority of the time without fans in settings like game situations. So I'm sure with the type of crowd noise they pump into practice during practice weeks and game weeks when you're playing on the road, you put some of that in there and you bring another team. It'd be just like when you played growing up. You got a few people out watching you and things. So it doesn't change what happens in between the lines. So I don't think it'd be too much of a difference. All
right, and before I let you run, in your opinion, Malik, what is the future of college athletics, and how do you see the college football season playing out?
I think eventually, colleges just be smart and just take the European style and making these their sports teams, club teams, and then that way you can still keep the revenue and the kids can be committed to what they basically are required to do when they get an athletic scholarship in terms of the time commitment. But, you know, doing it from a club basis and making it strictly club and not trying to make them do both school and athletics, I think it just gives the kids an opportunity to explore the limited time that they have to be a prime athlete. And then, but on the back end, you're able to, you know, have a grant or a trust where they can come back to school and get that degree because they've made so much money for the school. So I think instead of treating it as such give you two pills at one time, maybe they just treat it as just you go for the sport that you play like you go for a military service for a couple years and then you go to school. I feel like they should do sports the same way.
All right, my friend. Well, Malik, I want to thank you so very, very much for being a guest on Frankly Speaking Sports. I really enjoyed having you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, and be safe, my friend.
Yeah, you too.
That was Malik Zaire, former University of Florida and Notre Dame quarterback. Real good to meet up with him again. I remember when he first came over to Florida, I got to meet him. Nice guy, and just happy to have him on today. Want to remind you all, we are going to open this show up. We did this on purpose. We wanted the last 25 minutes or so to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays and get the fans' involvement and go ahead and give people an opportunity to leave a comment. If you got a question about the Rays, want to know what we think about the Rays, something you like about the Rays, it's hard not to like something tonight about the Rays as they're going into the top of the ninth inning at the Trop. They're leading 14-5 as Martinez is just at a homer. That is the fourth home run of the game for your Tampa Bay Rays. Hunter Renfroe has 2, Wendell has 1, and Martinez has a homer. Every single player on this team has reached base. Every single player has scored at least 1 run. So lots and lots of stuff. You know, the only poor performance seems tonight, Jalen Beeks had a rough night out of the bullpen. But other than that, this team in the last, since yesterday in that 9th inning has really shown a lot. And, we look at this team and you look what's built. And also Mike Zunino hit a home run tonight. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. So they've got 5 home runs in the game. And, we talked about Zunino. And they're going to need Zunino to really perform in order for them to finish up this year strong. We're talking about a 60-game season. 4 games just about in the books. Mike Zunino, great to see him get a homer. I believe he's also got a base hit tonight. So real good production. KK had an RBI single tonight. Those are 2 guys that they are going to really need their bats. Everybody talks about their defense. You can't deny what Zunino does behind the plate, calling the game, calling the pitches, and how well he blocks pitches when they're in the dirt. But, same thing with Kiermaier. He's a defensive gem. Well, we're going to need these guys to come through. And tonight, they scored some runs. First couple of games were questioning things. And, you got to remember, and there is a lot of extra pressure on these guys because the season is so short and people are questioning what's going on. This guy ain't hitting, that guy ain't hitting. Renfroe has 1 hit. Well, what did he do tonight? He hits 2 homers. KK was 0 for 10. And, KK is going to have to perform. KK is going to have to be consistent. And the problem with Kevin Kiermaier is real simple. And if you look at the base hit he got today, and yes, the shortstop was moving over towards second base. They were shifting him up the middle because KK has still not learned to consistently go the opposite way. Once Kevin Kiermaier learns to go the opposite way, maybe lay down a couple of bunts, use his speed, start going the opposite way. What's going to happen then is he's going to start seeing more pitches over the plate because they're going to know with this guy's speed he can drive the ball the opposite way. He's going to start now seeing better pitches over the middle to inner part of the plate, and he'll be able to jack a couple of extra homers that he wouldn't necessarily jack throughout the season. And it's a simple process for Kiermaier, and he still has trouble figuring that out. And I'm a big Kiermaier fan, have nothing against him. But in order for him to extend his career with the Tampa Bay Rays, he's gonna have to learn to go consistently the opposite way. And I'd love to get your opinions on this. I love to see some feedback. I'm looking at the messages right now. If you're listening, and you know what? If you want to go ahead and call in, go ahead. We have a call-in number. You can only do one call at a time. The number here is 813-922-9810. That's 813-922-9810. If you want to get on the line with us, talk a little baseball or something else that you might like to talk about, we're here for you. We got 20 minutes in this show. There's one out, top of the ninth inning, Rays leading 14-5. 5 home runs in the game. There's got to be something we want to talk about. If you want to talk about the games over the weekend, what do you think of Blake Snell? What do you see? The one that really impressed, Ryan Yarbrough looked really, really good, I thought, this weekend when we played our second game of the year, which we won. I thought he pitched real well. He had a decent command. Meanwhile, Blake Snell got out of a couple of tough jams in yesterday's game. I didn't think he looked spectacular, but it was game 1. So let's talk about some of that things. If you're on the line, I know Jeff from Sandusky, Ohio, big Cubs fan, is on the line. I believe they're winning 6-0, and last time I checked, they were in a rain delay. We're going to go ahead and see if we have some updated scores for you right now, as we will bring you those scores. Let me see if I can get them pulled up real quickly for you as we look at our out-of-town scoreboard. As I said, the Rays are winning 14-5. Alvarado is on to pitch the 9th. The Cubs are still winning 6-0 over the Reds. That game is in the top of the 4th inning. Meanwhile, in the top of the 4th in Pittsburgh, the Pirates are leading the Brewers 1-0. For all you Kansas City Royals fans, I know I got a big following of Kansas City Royals fans. You're destroying the Detroit Tigers right now in Detroit by the score of 12-6. That game is in the top of the 7th. Meanwhile, down in Houston, the Mariners are visiting the Astros, and the Astros are leading 8-5 in the top of the 7th inning. And for all you Rays fans out there, I know you're following the Boston Red Sox versus New York Mets. The New York Mets are defeating the Boston Red Sox 7-1. Walker is in the game. Mike Walker is in the game for the New York Mets. It's the middle of the 6th inning, so they're about to start the bottom of the 6th inning in Boston. Let's see. And we talk about the Cubs before we continue, winning 6-0. I picked them before the season started. I picked them to win that division, so we'll see what happens. It is a shortened season, but I did pick them to win that, so we'll see. Also, the Athletics have already defeated the Angels 3-0, as the Padres also defeated the Diamondbacks today 6-2. The Blue Jays, we were talking Donnie on the show earlier, the Blue Jays beat the Nationals 4-1 today. So those pesky Blue Jays came back, won, so they're now 2-2 in that division. Obviously, the Yankees and Phillies were postponed. The Orioles and Marlins were postponed. And the White Sox and Indians were postponed. So we are waiting to find out. This game goes final. So we're going to find out what's going on there right now as we're trying to find out for you. So there we go. It looks like Kevin Smith is down, our catcher, so we'll keep you posted. There's 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Looks like the Rays are definitely going to win this game. For those of you that want to join us, let me know. Like I said, we got 15 minutes in. I love to talk about some Tampa Rays and answer as many questions as we can. We have an incredible week in store for you. For those of you that love these interviews, we are booked solid through next week. I want to remind you, tomorrow night, we're going to have Joe D'Angelo. He is the owner and founder of Thunder Strikers, which is a Facebook group. He is also a radio talk show host at the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're going to be talking Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow. A lot about the Tampa Bay Lightning. They play a scrimmage game this Thursday in Toronto. It's just a scrimmage game. This Saturday, everything starts in hockey. They will be playing the first rounds to see who gets in. The Lightning are already in. They will play a round-robin seeded series beginning Monday, August 3rd. So we understand they're still in a rain delay in Chicago, as it having on and off rain, we're being told over there. So just a great week. We'll talk about the Rays here. And when you look at the Rays, as they 1 out away from getting their 3rd win in the first 4 games, overall, it seemed like the first 3 games, the bats were quiet. And, when you start a season off, I don't care when you start this season off, as they make the last out, Margot catches it, and the Tampa Bay Rays win 14-5. So, that is the Rays. As I want to shut that off. So, for those of you that are watching or just joining us, Tampa Bay Rays just won their 3rd game in 4 attempts this year. Just an unbelievable night at the Trop. If you watched it on TV or listened on radio, what a great performance. You had home runs by Mike Zunino, Joey Rendell, Martinez, 2 by Hunter Renfroe. So the Rays pounded out 5 homers. Put everybody on base, had everybody score. Just a team effort tonight. Something they've been lacking in. For those of you, and I'm listening to different people throughout the weekend talking about how the Rays this, the Rays that. It was the first couple of games. You cannot judge a team on a couple of games. And, the pitching is always ahead of the hitting at the beginning of the season. It takes a good couple of games, especially when you haven't been, you got to remember these guys, their preseason games, their exhibition games were in March. All they got to do in the summer camp when they started back up was to play against themselves in intra-squad games, and it's not the same thing. It's just a completely different atmosphere, a completely different setup, a completely different mindset. And now you got to see the Rays. Now, this is one game. They scored 14 runs. This thing started yesterday in the 9th inning, and you got to remember, Joey Wendell, just incredible. For any of you that think Daniel Robinson should have been on this team over Joey Wendell, you're just kidding yourself. Kevin Cash made the right decision, keeping Joey Wendell up, and he's delivering. He's delivering. Started off that inning yesterday in, the 9th inning with 2 outs, got on base. That led to the incredible, Brandon Lau got the big hit, scored a couple of runs. Just incredible, going on there. Let's see if I got a message here. All right, I was just checking my message. Those of you that want to get involved in this conversation, please leave a message on the Frankly Speaking Sports hotline right here under the comment section. Once again, if you are not on the Frankly Speaking Sports platform. I will not be able to see your message, therefore I will not be able to answer your question. But in the future, join Frankly Speaking Sports. It doesn't matter if you belong to another group. If you want to interact, we are on Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and we have special guests every night. Reminder, after tomorrow's show with Joe D'Angelo talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning, we move over to Crew Life this Wednesday. We have yet to announce who our special Buccaneer guest will be, but it's Frankly Speaking Bucks, starting at 9 p.m. on the Crew Life, our sister station. So we're definitely looking forward to that. But I thought overall the pitching was good over the weekend. There were some quirks. People say, well, Charlie Morton didn't have a great first outing. Hey, he's human. It's one outing. I like to see what Charlie does going forward. I mean, I'm not here to say, make any excuses for Charlie, but you got to remember in that first game, Joe West was really, really squeezing Charlie Morton and was not giving him that curveball or breaking ball over the corner or the outside corner. So there were several pitches, and when you get into that kind of funk where the umpire isn't giving you that pitch that you rely on as a pitcher, it's real tough to change your game up. And he got into a game where, give Joe West credit, he was consistent, but he was consistent in a not okay way. So, that was the first game. They came back the second game with Yarbrough. The bats were still dead. One of the things this team has to do, and they did a great job of it tonight, is they have to generate runs when we get guys on base. You can't keep getting guys on second base, no outs, and not scoring any runs. You're basically sending that mindset off the other team. It's okay if they get a runner on second. They're not going to score anyway. And that's one of the things the Rays have to, they got to play, small ball, I call it, or Billy ball, or whatever you want to call it. But, this team does have power. They proved it tonight, but they also have speed. They have a lot more speed than people know on this team with Margot and Kiermaier. These guys have to know their roles, okay? The Kiermaiers have to bunt. The Kiermaier has to go the opposite way. He's not a home run hitter. The Margot has to lay down a bunt and beat out. Remember, you have a better chance of getting on base if you hit the ball on the ground than if you do in the air. So, those are the things that have to, those fundamental things. Our defense still has a little bit here and there. You can see that they're still learning. The ball was dropped towards the end of the game in foul territory between third and the pitcher today. Those are mistakes that are going to cost you later on in the season. Obviously, with a 14-5 lead, it did not hurt them. I think their bullpen overall has been really, really good. I mean, it really has been good, except for, hiccups here and there. Jalen Beats, of course, did not look great tonight. But other than that, overall, good enough to win. You take 3 out of 4, your first 4 games. You play Atlanta again tomorrow in Tropicana, and then you go to Atlanta for 2 more, on Wednesday and Thursday, so that home away series. So I thought overall, I thought overall the Rays did very well. Anytime you win 3 or 4 games, you can't complain. I just think that this team, if it gets going, I mean, if you look at this lineup, Zunino could hit the ball out. You go to first base, Tsutsugo can hit the ball out. Wendell has some pop, although he's more of a singles hitter. Willie hit 20 last year. We know what Yandy can do. Remember, we don't have Austin Meadows yet. Okay? Renfroe, we knew what he can do. Okay? These are guys that can hit the ball. Martinez showed you how he has power tonight. This is a team that can hit with contact and also hit with power. And, incredible start. Willie Adames is off to another great, is off to a great start, had another great game tonight. He's finished up right where he left off at the end of last year, and the Rays are going to have some, tough choices to make because you got Wander Franco sitting there, and what position is he going to play? Who's going to move to second, which is probably going to happen? One's got to go to third, one's got, only one person can play short. So it's a good issue to have, but this team has a lot of depth. And you saw Smith yesterday come in behind the plate the last two games. They're utilizing their 3 catches very, very well, trying to give Zunino some time there, giving Mikey Perez some time. So, just a lot of good things, to be happy about after the first weekend and a day of baseball in Tampa Bay. Let's see if they've announced who is going to pitch tomorrow. And I believe they will. It looks like tomorrow it's going to be Wright versus Chirinos. It's Kyle Wright versus Yanni Chirinos tomorrow at Tropicana Field. And let me tell you, Chirinos, just an unbelievable starting staff this team has. I mean, look at it already. You saw Morton, you saw Snell, you saw Yarbrough, you saw Glasnow, and like I said, Glasnow, the first couple of innings, and I know it's his first game, I was a little worried because it's so important to get that first pitch strike, and he wasn't doing that, and his pitch count, I believe he had to have close to 40, 50 pitches thrown in the 40 pitches in the first 2 innings. Then he settled down. I believe in the 3rd inning, he only threw like 10 pitches, and the 4th inning got out again. So, just very, 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 impressed with how Glasnow came back. And I want to see if we can get the box score here for you. The Rays went ahead and got 13 hits. They did make 2 errors, so 13 hits. And if you look at the box score tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, there we go. You got Brandon Lau got 2 hits. Martinez got 3 hits. 2 hits. 3 hits for Renfroe, 2 homers. Wendell 2 hits. So the Rays got 14 runs on 13 hits today. If you look at the bullpen, Glasnow, first of all, went 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts for Tyler Glasnow. The win actually went to Castillo, who came on for 1 inning, struck out 2. I thought Diego looked very well. Beeks, of course, had the rough outing, went 3 innings, gave up 3 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned. Did have 7 strikeouts, but did give up a 3-run homer that he did give up. And then Alvarado again comes in, gets an inning, 1 strikeout. So Alvarado, in his first 3 outings of the year, pitched 3 out of 4 games, has looked pretty darn good. So the Tampa Bay Rays, win again. They win again. So just great week of baseball. Happy to have baseball back. Want to remind everybody that if you do not get to watch this show tonight, you can go ahead and you can watch it on Frankly Speaking Sports on our Facebook edition tomorrow. You can also go to YouTube and watch it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Larry Frankus. That's with the US at the end. We want to remind you that tomorrow night at 9 o'clock p.m. we're going to have special guest Joe D'Angelo. He's radio talk show host at the Tampa Bay Lightning. He also is founder and owner of the Thunder Strikers Facebook group. So you want to get all your Lightning information, this is definitely the right guy to speak to. He will be joining us tomorrow at about 9:15 Eastern Time. Want to thank you all so very, very much for joining us this evening. I hope you enjoyed our interview. I want to thank Malik Zaire for joining us tonight. All of you stay safe, and we'll see you again tomorrow on another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports.